First, a little background on my relationship with Alice. My wife, Mary Alice, and I met Alice in Wick soon after we moved back to Maine in 1990. Mary Alice and Wick worked together at the Farnsworth, but before long, the four of us became friends. We were in their company frequently over the years. On 2 occasions, recalled with special pleasure, we accepted their invitation to spend a few days cruising the Maine coast. Mary Alice and Alice worked together briefly on recycling issues in St. George, one of Alice's many passions, and Alice and I collaborated as colleagues on the board of the Lincoln Street Center here in Rockland for several years. I don't know about each of you, but as well as Mary Alice and I felt we knew Alice, we learned a lot about her impressive accomplishments for the first time from reading her obituary. For us, it reinforced a quality we deeply admired in Alice. She was comfortable drawing attention to the many causes and ideas she supported, but uncomfortable with attention being focused on her. Alice's ego never got in the way. Alice lived by a set of principles, not by force of personality. She was open to the ideas and passions of others, but securely anchored within herself. She set high standards and had the rare capacity to be critical without being judgmental. I recall the first time the two of us had a difference of opinion on an issue. After expressing my view, she looked at me squarely in the eye with that seemingly omnipresent, gleaming smile, which we saw represented up here in the wonderful photographs, and said, "John, thank you for letting me know how you feel. I see it differently." She then proceeded to outline her thoughts in depth and with a quiet force and clarity that left no doubt about her position and the principles and values that lay behind it, and doing so without ever conveying any sense that she was trying to win the argument. I spoke recently with my friend Jim Patterson, who among many accomplishments was the founding leader of the Hutchinson Center in Belfast. He reported that meeting Alice during the job interview process was one of the deciding factors in his decision to accept the position. In an effort to quote him here, "My first impressions of this wise and wonderful woman were reinforced by the solid counsel she offered as we were building the Hutchinson Center program and working out our relationship with our parent institution, the University of Maine at Orono. I will always be grateful for Alice's advice and support in the course of making some tough decisions. Alice had the capacity to get me to widen how I looked at issues. She would help me get out from among the trees and into the forest. Alice was always in the forest." Unquote. Alice was a strong member of the Lincoln Street Center board during some crucial years. What impressed all of us was her passion for our mission of being a center for creativity and learning for all members of the community, the arts for everyone. She took a keen interest in our desire to reach out to children, especially children from vulnerable backgrounds, and she backed up her interest with research findings documenting the positive impact the arts have on children from disadvantaged backgrounds. I recently asked Alice's former colleagues and staff members how they remember her. "Down to earth and totally without pretense," said one. Another recalled her having an inner glow and boundless enthusiasm. A third offered, "Whenever we were in conversation, especially with other people around, I always felt that Alice was fully focused on and present with me." And perhaps my favorite, Alice radiated incredible grace and gentleness of spirit that underscored her keen intellect and extraordinary ability to connect with people. Alice was a source of strength for all of us connected with this gratifying but challenging project of building a community arts center in an old, deferred maintenance-laden building. part of which dated back to 1868. Still does date back to 1868. Whenever a problem seemed especially daunting, Alice would invariably find a way to lift our spirits by proposing a way to turn the problem into an opportunity. She invariably looked at the positive side of a situation, but never through rose-colored glasses. Alice was grounded in reality. I will always be grateful that Alice agreed to give several years of service on the center's board when she was in her late 70s, a time when most people are shedding rather than adding to their volunteer responsibilities. Such was the measure of Alice's generosity. To use an adjective one does not hear often these days, Alice Skinner was to Mary Alice and me a truly noble person.